Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the first Bremner Square Podcast of 2022. My name's Johnny Chick, and joining me tonight, we have Kieran Archer. How are you doing, Kieran?
I'm doing well. I'm in a little bit of an isolation situation at the moment, so that's not the best.
Oh.
But any bit of time I get bored. I just pop on the highlights from the Burnley game, maybe take a little peek at the league table, which is looking a little bit brighter, and just cheer myself up.
I'm sure that's getting you through the isolation period very quickly. I'm sure it is. Maybe we should have probably postponed this podcast if we'd have had too many members out for COVID. We could have postponed the game and could have postponed the podcast and maybe carried it on in the next couple of weeks. But did you have a good Christmas? Did you have a good New Year?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think the lack of Leeds games was weirdly a bit of a relief. I wouldn't usually wish for matches to be off, but just after some heavy defeats recently, it was just one less thing to worry about. And then we came back to pretty much not a full complement of a squad, but much more of a squad. And it just, I was excited for the game by the time it rolled around. Sometime with my family, a few other football matches in there, watching Liverpool FC, and it was a decent Christmas period.
Good. I was going to say, we just said before we came on, I was kind of missing Leeds by the time they got to Boxing Day and when the Villa game should have been played, but you were just sort of lapping up the fact you weren't watching us get beat 4-1, 7-0, 3-2 with last-minute penalties. It was a decent period for yourself, but glad you had a good Christmas. So I guess one of the first questions I actually wanted to ask, a bit more of a Christmas-themed question, but it is now January the 6th, so it doesn't really refer to, but from your Christmas dinner that you had, last year, if you could invite one Leeds player, past or present, to that Christmas dinner, or for your Christmas dinner next year, if you're planning ahead, like a lot of people do like to do, one Leeds player, past or present, you could have around the dinner table, let's say next year for your Christmas 2022.
I feel like I may have answered this before at some point. It may have been a different conversation, but I remember saying Lucas Radebe, and I think that'd still be the answer just because of kind of the life that he lived. Not only his excellent football career, and he was a fantastic captain for Leeds United, probably. My very earliest memories of Leeds when I was, really young. I mainly remember Alan Smith because he was my favourite player, but also, that team, Mark Viduka, and you've got Lucas Radebe in there, a fantastic club captain. Also a fantastic example of a man, he was involved in the fight against apartheid in South Africa. He experienced discrimination himself. He was even shot, I believe, recovered from it, made his way to England, made a really successful football career for himself. So yeah, an absolute legend, and I'm sure he'd have some stories to tell.
Yeah, some right stories to tell around the table. I feel like we've maybe gone down a different route. I was sort of thinking, who can I sort of drink a bit with? Like Robert Snodgrass is a good laugh. I feel like Luke Ayling's a good laugh. Obviously, they'll have some good stories to tell as well. Maybe not on the levels of Lucas Radebe, but some good stories nonetheless. I was thinking like a Snodgrass, but I wanted to say like Becky. I don't know how good his English actually is, and I'm not a translator. None of my family's are translators. I don't know if the sort of connection would get across the table, but that's potentially one for the work. Look, if local TV want to put us in contact with any ex-Leeds players to do a Christmas special come Christmas this year in 2022, I wouldn't turn it down, would you?
No, definitely not. And honestly, some of the stories from people in the Michelino years as well. People like Matt Smith, Stephen Warnock. I'd love to hear some of those about sitting in a river in Italy and stuff like that. So there's plenty of Leeds players that I'd absolutely love to sit round a Christmas dinner with and get drunk and share some stories.
I'd love to know. Like, I mean, have you seen what Paddy Kenny's been tweeting on Twitter? Have you seen his reply to like Neil Redfern?
Yeah, and weirdly, I always used to think Paddy Kenny used to come across quite well on Twitter. He interacted with Leeds fans in the past and seemed a decent guy, and then he just came at Neil Redfern like that, and I'm sure he does have his own reasons, but he kind of put me off him a little bit.
Yeah, I think he does have his reasons. I think it was something to do with was it Redfern saying that Chilino should have got him off the wage bill, or Chilino stated that Redfern stated that he was earning a bit more than he actually was? I don't know, but it was all very out of the blue. Wasn't it Redfern wishing Becchio a happy birthday, and then Kenny just sort of replied underneath. I was so stunned. I thought it was a fake account. It was his real account. I was so confused as to what was going on. But even Paddy Kenny would be very interesting to hear, well, what he's talking about with that and other stories. I think, yeah, any player from the Chilino era would actually be extremely underrated as to hear what their experience, well, or lack of experience was really at Leeds. But in terms of what we missed then in the Leeds in the present day, don't worry, I'll take you back from the 2014-15 time. We're in the Premier League. We did miss those two games after the Arsenal game, the Liverpool and the Aston Villa game. What was your reaction when the games were called off?
Like I said, relief mainly, because I do think a result against Liverpool is extremely far-fetched anyway. So is a result against Manchester City and a result against Chelsea, although we came close at Chelsea. But with the squad that we had, it was not only far-fetched, it was, I think, quite literally impossible. And I understand your views of the word literally, but I do feel like it's completely justified there. And yeah, I didn't want another really heavy defeat, and other clubs have kind of. I don't agree with using COVID to get games called off, but if you literally can't put a squad together, then I think it's justified, and I don't think we'll. I don't think it's Bielsa's way to kind of call a game off that shouldn't have been called off. I think if the game was getting called off, it is because he genuinely could not put something resembling a first team squad together. And yeah, I was quite relieved we didn't have to play Liverpool with, a bunch of under 23s in the starting 11. And then the Aston Villa game, with it being a couple of days later, it was like, given that was going to get called off. So I was never expecting that game to be on. It wasn't a surprise when the official announcement was made, and it just continued to put my feet up for the new year.
Yeah, I don't think Bielsa is someone who was going to cheat his way out of a postponement. If you look at the lineup that we played against Arsenal, I mean, we were down to the bare bones then, and that went ahead. So I think it was just a couple of more cases must have sent those two games to be postponed. I think Diego Llorente was one of the casualties with COVID. I think he spent Christmas away from his family, and I think I heard on the commentary of the Burnley game that he FaceTimed his like kids from the other room or something. The sacrifices he's made to come through the illness and to then play the. Did he play? Yeah, he did play the weekend with some fleet. So obviously, all the players who did have COVID, hopefully they have recovered and they're all well now to go and get some more 3 points in the coming year. So Christmas without Leeds. I mean, you've sort of said you didn't really miss it at all. Was there not a bit of you that thought Boxing Day? So I checked the Leeds score. Oh no, we're not playing. Surely there was a bit of you that missed it. Surely.
You know what? I was. I'm gonna have to bring him up again. I was at Brighouse Town versus Liverpool.
Promote them as much as you want. Promote them as much as you want. It's fine.
Yeah, I was watching Joe Walton grab a last-minute winner for Liverpool in our main derby, so I wasn't thinking about Leeds at that point. It was like a double boost. We didn't have to face Liverpool and get battered with a team of under 23s, and I also still got to watch some dramatic football, a big West Yorkshire derby, and see my side come out with a win. So I was fine. I was completely fine.
That's all right for you. I went to watch my local side play their biggest derby game, coincidentally as well, on Boxing Day, and they lost 1-0. So we've had completely different Boxing Day. It wasn't at the point where I was thinking, would I rather be watching Leeds Liverpool at the moment? Maybe not. I was still happy watching my local side play in the big derby game, obviously losing, but yeah, I do agree. The whole Liverpool, I don't think we would have been able to compete. And I know you say literally is thrown around quite a bit, but I literally do not think we would have been able to compete in that game. And it gives us some better stead going on when we have an improved squad. We can maybe nick something at Anfield. But the one game that did get played in the last couple of weeks was, in fact, the Burnley game. And we are unbeaten in 2022, Kieran.
Yeah, and we'll keep that record going all the way to Europe, as you often like to speculate. A bit far back now, but an unbeaten 2022 could just about get us there. it was a really needed victory. I think my dad was going to the game. He took all of the season ticket, and I was a bit jealous. I kind of wanted to go, but I remember him being really nervous.
Yeah.
But like I said, by the time the Burnley game rolled around and I saw that we had something of a resembling a first team again, I was quite excited for it. And I always was confident that we'd just have that bit more quality on the pitch than Burnley if we did get a first team out. And I think it showed. I think we were the better team throughout. There were a couple of moments of playing ourselves into danger, but nothing really came of it. And Burnley also did the exact same thing of playing themselves into danger, but much more than us. And we were the better team on the ball anyway. We strung together more attacks. I can only really, aside from the goal, which is a fantastic free kick, a free kick that I'm not sure they should have been given in the first place. I can only really think of the Chris Wood chance. There may have been another one in there as well. And yes, that Chris Wood chance is a really good chance, but I mean, how many chances did we have? I think Roberts has missed a sitter of a header. There's a couple of those where we've put really promising attacks together as well, and then it's just maybe the final ball or another one. I'm not calling out Roberts again, but it's just another example that's come to mind. There was a ball across to Roberts on the edge of a box. He had a bit of space, he slipped, and by the time he got up to release a shot, the space had been closed down a bit. So yeah, I think we were well on top, and it showed with the number of chances we created.
You say your dad went to the game. You've got to tell him now, from now on, he can't be pitch invading after full time. Because I don't know if you've seen, if you pitch invade from now on, and this goes to yourself, Kieran, and anyone who runs on the pitch. If you do pitch invade, then you will face is it a year ban that you get now from Ellen Road, I presume? Yeah, I think that's what they said. Do you agree with that? Actually, just going off topic of it.
Yeah, I mean, looking at. My dad described the events for me, and then I've seen kind of a few little videos on social media of it. In this particular case that's brought about this statement, it doesn't look like it posed any danger to the players. It looks like the players took it in good spirit, and what danger are a couple of kids going to cause. But I think the problem at the moment is we've got bottles throwing on at opposition players. You know, there was a pint glass, a plastic glass, so it wasn't really dangerous, but thrown at Sergio Canos a few weeks ago. We had those horrible incidents against Arsenal as well, which you just don't like to see at Ellen Road. And I think we'll have certain authorities, the Premier League, the FA, taking a keen eye on fan behaviour at Ellen Road at the moment, and we probably can't afford any more slip-ups. So even though it's come from a minority of this behaviour, I think the majority is going to have to rein themselves in a bit. Even if they're not really stepping over the line, they're stepping onto the line, and just make sure they behave, because it's going to land the club fines. I don't think fan behaviour can land the club much worse than fines, but yeah, the club has got to be seen as putting a bit of a foot down, and that's why they've had to release the statement.
Yeah, they haven't actually received sort of too much negative reaction to this statement. I saw someone say, why would you, someone was saying, why would you reward fans for this? And they were like, why are they rewarding them? Because you don't get to watch Leeds anymore. Some awful banter on Twitter from some opposition fans. Here's a question. If Lucas Radebe comes on at half-time in a game as to, I don't know, collect some sort of, award or anything like that, would you take the year hit to run on the pitch and see him, maybe get a photo with him?
No, because if I had an inkling to have done that at all, I'd have probably done it by now when I was much younger. But I've never invaded the pitch, and I've been at games with mass pitch invasions as well. I was there when we were relegated to League One against, I think it was Ipswich Town. We only got a draw. We needed a win to have any chance going into the final day, and that was the first mass pitch invasion I ever saw. I was a kid. If I wanted to get on the Ellen Road pitch, that was my chance, and I didn't do it. The difference there is it's an angry pitch invasion rather than a happy pitch invasion. But still, I've never done it. It's never been my thing, and I don't think I would do it.
How are they meant to police the pitch invasion come the end of the season when we confirm our Europa League football after going unbeaten in 2022. I don't know how they're meant to ban about 30,000 people for a year when we run on against, who's our last home game against? Is it Brighton or Brentford when we've confirmed European football? Not too sure how the stewards are going to be able to deal with that one, but not too much negative reaction coming from that. Back to the Burnley game. You mentioned, obviously, Tyler Roberts missed a couple of chances. I thought he actually had a very well-rounded game apart from that sort of good hold-up play, nice link-up with Firpo. Firpo as well actually stood out as well. I thought Click was very good. I thought it was a game where the players who needed to step up and prove themselves did.
Yeah, I agree with that. Click he's put I think he's technically got the assist for Stuart Dallas's goal.
Yeah.
It was a ball back to Dallas for him to ping home. It was a fairly run-of-the-mill ball, but it's an assist. I think he was heavily involved in the build-up to other goals as well. I think he may have been involved in the build-up to James's goal before Gelhardt got the ball.
Yes, yeah, he nutmegged. I think it was it Ben Mee he nutmegged. I think the club have sort of put it on their social media reels about 20 times this week. The amount of times I've seen Click nutmegging Ben Mee.
Yeah, and that's it. That's what we needed him to do. Just be involved in creating chances, in opening teams up, and aside from direct assists, he was good all round. Jack Harrison, a goal will have done him a lot of good. He's had a couple of games this season where he's looked promising, but in general, his average performance this season is a long way off what it was last season, and I think that shows in the fact that he's been looking all the way until now for his first league goal, and he's finally got it, and hopefully that gives him a big confidence boost. Firpo was really good, I think, both defensively and just getting up and down that wing. I know a lot of the more and more kind of below expectations performances Firpo's put in, the more the name Alioski's started to be mentioned. But, I think
I'm guilty of that myself. I've done it myself.
Yeah, I think he showed there kind of why he was at Barcelona. I know he wasn't a key player for Barcelona, but he came from Real Betis. He played really well there. Barcelona took him on to get the attentions of a team like Barcelona in the first place. You've got to have been playing at a really good standard, and maybe there was a little bit of a hangover that move hadn't really worked out for him. He hadn't pulled up any trees there, and he's playing little football the last couple of seasons. It's taken him time to really get there, but we've seen improving performances for him, and now we've seen a really, really good performance from him.
He has been very, very good, and I think did he have COVID as well back in? I think he actually missed the reverse leg of the Burnley game, as did Matthäus Klick. They both had COVID, which I just realised they were almost the two standout players against Burnley this time. So put 2 and 2 together, if they both played at Turf Moor, we win that game and we're 2 points better off in the table. So if the Premier League want to add us those 2 points on come the end of the season, that'd be fantastic. And I'm sure that's going to be our other way of getting into European football. But the relief at full time, and especially come that third goal, was something I haven't actually felt in a while. And I've seen some fans bigging it up as the biggest game under Bielsa so far. And I thought maybe it's not that crucial. But when you think about it, the gap between us and Burnley, with their games in hand, wasn't too much. We needed those 3 points for breathing space. So those 3 points were so crucial, weren't they?
Yeah, I think the key things when looking at games in hand is when you're a bottom club and you're looking at teams below you, how many points per game can you assume from those games in hand? And from Burnley averaging less than a point per game this season, they're not likely to close us down that much with the games in hand anyway, unless there's a big turnaround. No. But I know it is still a concern for the fans. People look at it and think, well, if they win both those game in hands, then the whatever points behind us or level 1 points with us or whatever it be. So it just opens up that gap a little bit further, and it's a bit of relief now. It relieves a bit of pressure on the next couple of games. Although I think Newcastle is going to be a game that fans find quite tense, whether we expect a resurgence from Newcastle in this new year or not. People are going to look at that as another crunch battle. I think West Ham's probably a little bit of a free hit because of how good we've been this season. But yeah, it does. I feel it relieves a bit of pressure on the players and the fans as well are a bit less tense, and hopefully that creates kind of better atmospheres, more enjoyment, and just everyone's feeling that little bit brighter.
Well, speaking of the atmospheres there, did your dad mention what he thought of the atmosphere at Ellen Road on Saturday? Because it looked electric like usual.
Yeah, I think it was. I think the fans responded to the players putting in the performance that they did. Obviously, it was a tense game going into it because if we'd have lost it, then that gap between us and the relegation places is looking closer to next to nothing.
Yeah.
And that possibility dawns on us a lot more. But I think as soon as we started to get on top in the game, which is pretty much from minute one, and look electric and string good attacks together, the fans just responded and the tension was lifted, and we were just enjoying the football. It's a problem when Burnley peg us back, but I think I was annoyed when they pegged us back for a second because I'm like, we've let a lead slip again. But I think we came straight out of that and started, we were still on top of the game. We'd gone straight out of that into a couple more promising attacks. And I'm like, no, we're going to win this. We're going to find a winner here. No problem because we are well on top of this game. So yeah, I think that's why the atmosphere wasn't tense despite it being kind of a crunch battle for us.
Yeah, we didn't let that equaliser really, because the game against Brentford earlier in December was the prime example. We went level when they equalised, and then they took the lead again, and the sort of, I don't know, the players just lost their heads for a couple of minutes, but we didn't let that happen this time. We got back on the front foot, and like you said, I can't remember Burnley, apart from having that Chris Wood chance in the first half. So after they equalised, I can't remember them doing too much to go on and then win the game. So I do feel like we showed a lot better character this time. Anything else on the Burnley game? I actually wanted to touch on Joe Gelhardt. I mean, how good is that man at football?
The thing is, he's absolutely fearless, and for an under 23s player, how old is he? Is he 20?
I think he's 19. I think
Still a teenager, stepping up to men's football and just looking like he belongs there, not looking like a kid trying to break through, looking like an assured player that has already broken through because he gets that ball and he's direct. He's just trying to do something to put us on the front foot immediately, and he doesn't go inside himself. He doesn't, like you may see with some young players breaking through, and it's a completely natural thing to think, oh, I don't want to make any mistakes here. Mistakes aren't on his mind. Kind of creating goal scoring opportunities is on his mind, and he's done that. He's provided a lovely assist for Dan James's goal, and just every time the ball gets at his feet, I feel like you can sense that excitement in the fans. What's he going to do with it here? Because he is that kind of player. So he's a brilliant talent to have on his hands. We are lucky to have him, and hopefully he's here for a long time.
We are very lucky to have him. Did you see the photo that went around social media recently, or this week after the Burnley game, of him with really long hair when he was at Wigan?
No, I didn't see that.
Have you not seen it? I'll put it in a WhatsApp group afterwards. I think it was obviously when he was a lot younger at Wigan, and it was like you could have told this kid that he would be lighting it up in the Premier League in next year's time. And when I say it's long, like it's forward fringe all the way down, long to pull out his shoulders. It's ridiculously different to what it is now, but still probably as good of a player as he is. Like you say, so fearless, and the raw that Ellen Road showed, well, it looked like from the stream that I was watching on, which may or may not be a different stream that others use, but from that video that I was watching, it did look like the crowd really buzzed when they saw him sort of take off his training jacket and enter the frame. Talking about how I watched the game, on that method of watching the football match, Rob Green was on assistant commentary for me, and it was quite bizarre watching him commentate on Chris Wood, Charlie Taylor, Liam Cooper, Stuart Dallas. It was a bit like a bit of a sort of Gary Monk nostalgia era of him telling me how good Chris Wood is at finishing or how good Liam Cooper is at leading the side. I thought this is very weird as to how he's now landed this commentary job. He was actually very good, so fair play to him. One of the good things about us not having the games over the Christmas period was, I don't know if you remember last year, Kieran, when we came back after the Christmas break, we sort of summarised the games that we'd missed, and it was obviously a lot more than we have at the moment. But it was like the 6-2 defeat to Manchester United, 2-1 to West Ham in like the sort of, oh yeah, it was 2-1 to West Ham. I think we had a couple of other, like the Brighton game that was just so depressing, Crawley as well, and it's good to be able to just reflect on one positive game that we've missed over the Christmas break. So COVID's sort of done us a bit of a helping hand there. But on to our next run of staying unbeaten in 2022. West Ham away in the cup, Kieran. Talk to me. How are we feeling about this one?
I think we've struggled with West Ham since we've got back into the Premier League. They've been a bit of a bogey club for us, and that's because they've got a lot of those attributes that we struggle with. And the key one being height and ability at set pieces.
Is there a way that we can just grow our squad in the next 2-3 days? I don't know if you know any methods that we could use.
I don't know. I'm sure there might be some sports scientists at Forbatch trying to work that one out. But if we don't, then what I hope is that West Ham play something close to a first team, and that we play something close to a first team, and just see if we can try out some things, try out some different things, see if we can work out why West Ham have been a bit of a bogey club for us, and see if we can turn that around, test things out for the league fixture, because like it says, record against it, it's 3 defeats, isn't it? I think the defeat at Ellen Road is this season. We were unlucky to not come out.
Yeah, I think that's the best we've played against them since we've come back.
Yeah, I think so. We were unlucky not to come out with a point, so maybe we can take some confidence from that. At least we weren't completely outplayed as we were at their place last season, and I think we were at our place last season as well. But yeah, like I say, this cup game, let's just see it as an opportunity. There's little pressure on it. I would like a bit of a run in the cup, but it's not the be all and end all. So go into it, no pressure. See if we can work something out and maybe even get a win.
I'm trying to work out what sort of scenario we need to be in to be able to justify a cup run, because Championship, it was always focus on promotion. We got up last year, it was right. We can actually go for it because we look relatively safe. But we don't want to say that as a newly promoted club. So we'll just focus on just staying up, and we obviously bowed out to Crawley. This year again, it's let's just try and stay in the league. I would love a cup run. I would absolutely love a cup run. I mean, obviously, stay in the league is the priority, but I'd love to take us to Wembley. Obviously, I'm not taking us to Wembley. I'd love to go to Wembley. West Ham do have a game in midweek actually against Norwich, which is one of their games that needs to be replayed because of COVID. Do you think that could have any sort of effect on how they line up in the game?
You know what? It might push them closer to second 11. I've been having a cup game sandwiched by league fixtures, and I think with them possibly even chasing a Champions League spot this season, that's the position they put themselves in. They might be very much in a prioritise for league mode, and they'll want to put the best foot forward for the league games and maybe take the opportunity to rest in the FA Cup. So yeah, I do think it could have a bit of an impact on how we see West Ham line up.
Well, the thing is with West Ham, I was having this conversation with my dad earlier. West Ham, obviously, the Champions League would be an unbelievable flight. I mean, they could get that by winning the Europa League themselves, which isn't actually out of the question because they're probably one of the favourites in that competition at the moment. But I think actually going on a cup run for them could be a massive priority this year. I mean, we saw them beat the likes of Man City, Man United in the Carabao Cup, and only just bowed out to Spurs in the last round. But I think the FA Cup could really be valuable for them. I mean, if you were a West Ham fan, Kieran, I don't want to put you in these shoes for too long, but if you were, how would you be sort of wanting to approach this? Would you be thinking, well, it looks like we could comfortably get the Europa League, maybe sort of fall off on the Champions League? Would you rather have the Europa League qualification again next season and go for the cup run and potentially win the cup, or would you want to prioritise getting Champions League football at the London Stadium?
You know what? I'm sure a lot of West Ham fans would absolutely love to see their club with some silverware. I know that's something that I want to see as a Leeds fan. I'd absolutely love to see us win the FA Cup. You know, I consider it a major trophy. It's a main domestic
Yeah, no, I
competition in
think it
this
is. Yeah,
country. So to see your club lift a major trophy, personally, I'd value that above Champions League qualification. The difference is Champions League qualification take away the pure joy of winning a trophy. It's a lot better for the club financially in terms of the sponsors that can attract those extra games where they're guaranteed a full crowd. So yeah, Champions League qualification is technically better for the club, but being a fan, I'm being quite
yeah.
selfish as a fan as to what I want to see. I'd absolutely love to. You've put me in the shoes of a West Ham fan, but I'm saying as a Leeds fan, if I was in West Ham's position right now, I'd absolutely love to see us go for it because I'd see the FA Cup as a winnable competition as a side that's sitting fifth and just outside
Yeah.
the Champions League places in the Premier League. It is definitely a winnable competition for them, and I'd love, and if I was a West Ham fan, I'd love to see them go for it.
Well, if I was to keep you in the shoes of a Leeds fan, win the FA Cup and relegation, or stay up and win the FA Cup and lose the FA, don't win the FA Cup.
I don't know. That's a really difficult one. For years, the goal as a Leeds fan was to see us back competing amongst the country's best, amongst the world's best, and we've got that now. So it'd be difficult to give that up. But for a day at Wembley, seeing us lift a trophy, I'm not sure if that is enough.
It's Man United in the final, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, give me the FA Cup. Give me the FA Cup. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Was that the thing that sort of just leaned you towards the FA Cup trophy?
Yeah. Beating Man United in the final of an FA Cup.
See,
I wouldn't care about relegation at that point.
know.
We'd bounce straight back up the next year anyway, I'm sure of it.
Well, do you get European qualification for winning the FA Cup?
Yeah, that'd be difficult on a championship schedule.
I was going to say on Bielsa's squad, but who knows if we were to go down. Obviously, I don't like thinking about that. It's something that I was thinking while you were answering that question. I was thinking, we stay up. We likely keep Phillips because he's came out a video of him over his Christmas time saying he's not leaving. How true that is. Hopefully that is extremely true. Bielsa may stay. Rafinha may stay. Obviously, we don't win the FA Cup. If we win the FA Cup, European football for a championship side. But we all know the ramifications if we are to drop down a tier would be quite huge on the club with the players that we've got and who would leave. So do you know what? I'm going to stick the same as you. I'm going to say win the FA Cup because silverware, I think, from a fan's perspective, is a lot bigger. From Radrazani, he's probably thinking, let's just stay in this league, please. And I wonder if he's going to have a bit of an impact on Bielsa's lineup against West Ham if he's just wanted to keep us in this league. But who would you realistically like to see play against West Ham? Like you said, you'd quite like to see a first 11, would you?
I kind of would. Just the players whose fitness is enough to carry them through it, who were confident it'd come through the game. Because we saw it in the League Cup earlier this season. Because Bielsa felt like they weren't quite there with, the fluidity just with the play at the start of the season. It felt like maybe they hadn't quite got it over pre-season. They played close to full strength against Crew Alexandra, it wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I feel like coming off this period where we've been without games, we've been without members of the squad, a couple of them are coming back. We may be in a bit of the same situation again where I know we looked very good against Burnley, but maybe we could just do with giving the first team that competitive exercise a little bit more and getting them out there and minutes under the belt. So I wouldn't want to see us risk injury to anyone who's kind of only just coming back. I think Bamford's been mentioned in the press conference as recovering. I'd only like to see him introduced from the bench, obviously. But yeah, those players that are probably fit enough. Robin Koch probably needs minutes. Maybe Firpo doesn't seem to have any fitness issues, and with his performances improving at the moment, maybe it's good to just keep him going and keep him on a high. So yeah, I'd like to see close to full strength.
I agree with you. I don't see there's any. We don't have a West Ham excuse here. We're not playing midweek in a league game, which we may deem more crucial. It's a job of Saturday. I think there's no reason as to why we can't put out a full strength side. And you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, aren't you? If you play Rafinha on Sunday, we lose, he gets injured, you're like, why have you played him? If we play Rafinha, he scores the winner, we go into the next round. You're laughing. So honestly, Bielsa's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. I'd like him to go full strength, and I'd like to see us go on a cup run. Like I've said, obviously, I don't want to obviously push Bamford back too early. I think a bench would be great for him, and to see him play 20 minutes, half an hour would be very good. I think Joffrey to start up front would be something I'd quite like to see. In terms of other players, I like you say, Ayling's just come back from injury. Koch needs the minutes. Why not play them? Why not play them? Honestly, I don't see the reason for sort of going from an unchanged side from the weekend, but maybe introducing Joe Gelhardt in there instead. Somerville might have a shout to start with his hat-trick in the under-23s last night.
Yeah, I'd maybe give him some minutes. Whether from the start or from the bench, because, like I say, I wouldn't mind keeping the momentum in certain players, and Jack Harrison boosted by his goal. I'd maybe like to give him some more minutes and see if he can build on that. And then Dan James, having dropped to the bench, come on and got a goal, maybe I'd like to see him play as well. So maybe Rafinha's someone who's been fit pretty much all season. He's been on top form all season. So maybe drop Rafinha out, give him a bit of a rest, get James and Harrison on for the first half and some of the second half, in replacing one of them. I don't know, depending on who's playing well or who's feeling best with the fitness. That'd be an ideal situation for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, at the end of the 23s, throwing away a 3-goal lead against Sunderland last night, doing their best to really make the season struggle for themselves. But Somerville was shining light in that performance, a hat-trick, and I've actually been very impressed when he's played for the first team. I think when he came on against Wolves, Arsenal, Newcastle as well, I thought he hasn't really put in a bad performance for me when he's come on. I think he was unlucky against Arsenal to be subbed on and subbed off. But the FA Cup as a whole, Kieran, do you feel like, because I mean, we discussed this, it gets discussed by every fan every year, is the FA Cup dying? Where's the magic of the FA Cup? But do you think it's dying? Do you think there is a lack of magic? Or do you think with COVID and all that stuff, we're just sort of happy to have the fans back? It's the first time fans would have been back in the FA Cup knockout rounds for the first time in a couple of years.
I think where the magic of the FA Cup is kind of dying is when you get beyond the third round stage. It feels like you see less of those shocks now with the gap widening even between the top of the Premier League and the bottom of the Premier League. It seems the gap is just completely ridiculous between the Premier League and League One, League Two. So it feels like you don't see as many shocks as you used to, where, you know, a Chesterfield or an Oldham would go somewhere and get Chesterfield aren't even in League One or League Two anymore. But you know, get a fantastic result. It definitely does happen a lot less nowadays. Not that it was ever common, but you'd have at least a couple of season out of all the games. And I think removing replays as well, because a draw used to be a fantastic result.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas now it's you know, a draw, you don't get to bring them back to your place. I think they've scrapped replays this season, haven't they? Or is it from a certain round onwards?
Was that
either way, you know, it's I understand the need to drop replays. I do. I understand that, but it does feel like a little bit of the magic of the FA Cup has been removed. But I think for anyone who does follow non-league football, as I do, knowing that the prize money for getting through a couple of qualification rounds of the FA Cup at that level can be really substantial to your season's budget, and seeing plenty of these shocks still happening in non-league, a team from the 8th tier going to a National League team in the 5th tier and getting a good result, results like that still happen, then, you know, but the magic is still there. It's just you have to look harder for it.
It is. It's certainly, that's the thing, you do have to look a lot harder for. I mean, you can only look at the first game that's going to be played tomorrow, Swindon against Man City. You'd put anything on the fact that Man City are going to go through. And obviously Man City are the best team in English football as it stands, so you can't really expect too much of an upset there. But as you scroll down the fixtures, I'm just looking now, like even like Newcastle against Cambridge, that's big for Cambridge, but even how poor Newcastle have been, I still can't see them slipping up. And you look at your stereotypical stereotypical giant killings with your with your big six sides. I mean, Liverpool against Shrewsbury. I think did that tie get played a couple of seasons ago? Actually, Liverpool Shrewsbury. I feel like Shrewsbury took it to a replay at Anfield, which is part of the magic of the cup. I'm pretty sure it was them anyway.
Yeah, I think
You
it
look
was.
at Forest versus Arsenal was getting played for the 10th season in a row. You can't really see Morecambe getting anything out of Spurs, and I think Chelsea will go through as well. But that's the thing. Once you eliminate all those teams from the third round, as it then progresses, you then sort of get Championship versus Premier League, and you sort of lose that magic. I didn't speak about Leeds' previous third round fixtures. The awful set of fixtures, Crawley last season, Arsenal before that, QPR before that, Newport before that, Sutton before that. The last time we won an FA Cup third round game, I'm pretty sure, and this was actually off the top of my head, was Rotherham at home at Ellen Road in 2015, which for context, one of the goals in that game was posted by Mustafa Carriol. He didn't post it. Leeds posted him scoring. So if you saw that appear on the club's Twitter account, Kieran.
Yep, and you know what? I was at that game. I remember being at that game because I think Soleimani Dakar also put in a bit of a masterclass, which...
Yeah, I think he scored the second.
That was before he had his little resurgence, you know. That was when we thought he was just completely gone as a footballer. But then I think that game started a little bit of a resurgence for him. He got in the team a bit more and he contributed quite well towards the end of the season. But that Mustafa Carriol goal, even though I was there to see it live in the person, until people in the comments were saying Rotherham United third round, and I remembered, oh yeah, I went to watch Rotherham United in the third round. I didn't remember that goal happened or that game happened, which kind of just shows what Leeds United were at that point. I was turning up to every game, so so many of them were completely forgettable. I think one of the forgettable aspects of that game, if you look at the stands on that video,
yeah, I was about to say,
completely empty. Big gaps in the east stand, and then just a completely empty south stand. It looks, and compare that to nowadays. We sold out for Croat Alexandra at home in the League Cup at the start of the season. I'm not sure if we'd sell out if we played a lower league team in the FA Cup now, but still it wouldn't look anything as dire as that.
Yeah, I presume the South Stand was like shut or something, but that's obviously just because they weren't expecting the fans to get there. Like you say, the patches in the East Stand of empty seats, you can't even use the blame of, it was half time, people are just queuing for their pies in the toilet. I've never seen Ellen Road that empty, but I look at goals from that season. I can always remember the Lewis Cook wonder goal against Fulham at home, where on a Tuesday night is just completely empty. Like you say, compare that to what the South Stand is now, with the limbs of Dan James's goal and Dallas's goal at the weekend. It's crazy the transformation that we've been on in the last couple of years. I can remember from that FA Cup run, I think we then went on to play Bolton in what would have been the fourth round. I'm pretty sure Diagaraga scored in that game, and I can't remember who we then got knocked out to after that. But considering that was the last time, how well the club has progressed, considering that was the last time we went on a good FA Cup run, I think we do need a cup run this year. West Ham will be a very, very difficult opposition. Currently the fifth best team in England. Kieran, score prediction for this one.
I'll give it West Ham 1-0. It's a trip to London. We don't have a good, even since breaking the curse, we still haven't got a good record in London. So I'll give West Ham the result. But they're going to make me look like idiots, and I'm going to have to come on here and confess that next week.
That's fine. I'm going to go. West Ham may make me look like an idiot. I'm going to go 2-1 Leeds. Bamford last minute winner to come on off the bench in front of the away fans, which there will be a lot of them. There's 8,900 allocation, I think it is. Yeah,
I believe it is. I think I probably shouldn't admit to this. Actually, I think I had a ticket on my own account, but unluckily I couldn't sort out travel, so that ticket's with someone else now.
Of course, yeah, of course. Oh, that's gutted. I can't even imagine what that would be like. So, when are you out of isolation?
I don't know, because it's actually my parents I live with that's tested positive. I'm double jabbed and testing negative, so technically I can leave, but I don't want to leave until my PCR result comes back because I don't really trust lateral flows. So I'm waiting for that result to come back before I can leave. But then if that comes back positive, I think I'd have to start my isolation from this date because this is when I tested positive. So that'd give me another 10 days.
I mean, that's serious. I was going to say, because you could go out and effectively could go to the game, but that is serious commitment to make sure the rest of the Leeds fans are well and healthy. So Kieran Archer, the people's champion, the hero you don't realise you need, and hopefully the person you did give the ticket to has a good day, as the other 8,000 odd fans who are making the trip to London. It is London, but the curse is there to be broken like it was against Fulham last season. But thank you very much to everyone who has watched this episode of the Bremner Square Podcast. Hopefully we will see you after progressing to the 4th round of the FA